Welcome, tennis fans from around the globe, to one of the most anticipated updates of the 2026 WTA season. The tennis world is buzzing. A monumental rematch has just been confirmed, and the reverberations are being felt from the streets of Manila all the way to the historic clay courts of Germany. Alexandra Eala returns to the Stuttgart Grand Prix, officially known as the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix, and she is set to face none other than eighth-seeded Czech maestro Karolina Muchova. This is not just another match on the calendar. This is a story of redemption, a clash of contrasting styles, a test of evolution, and a defining moment for a young prodigy stepping onto European clay to settle unfinished business with one of the most tactically astute veterans in the sport. The road to Stuttgart. To understand the gravity of this encounter, we need to trace the extraordinary trajectory that has brought both players to this exact moment. Eala's rise has been meteoric. We witnessed her historic breakthrough last year, breaking into the top 100, reaching the Miami Open semifinals, making the final at Eastbourne, and capturing her first WTA 125 title in Guadalajara. She has proven repeatedly that she possesses the firepower, the defensive resilience, and the mental fortitude to stand with the very best in the world. But progress is rarely a straight, uninterrupted line. And Eala faced one of her starkest realities just weeks ago at the 2026 Miami Open. After an extraordinary run, surviving a 3-hour and 20-minute war against Laura Siegemund and dispatching Magda Linette in a composed straight-sets victory, she ran directly into a tactical wall in the round of 16. That wall was Karolina Muchova. In Miami, Muchova delivered a masterclass in all-court tennis, defeating Eala 6-0, 6-2 in just 68 minutes. She used her signature slice, impeccable net transitions, and unpredictable shot placement to completely dismantle Eala's rhythm, preventing the left-hander from setting up the devastating forehand that is the centerpiece of everything she does. It was a humbling afternoon. It was also an invaluable lesson in what separates good players from elite ones at the WTA 1000 and Grand Slam levels. Now the narrative shifts entirely. We are leaving the scorching hard courts of North America and moving to the sophisticated, high-stakes indoor clay of the Porsche Arena in Stuttgart. And Eala is coming for answers. Why Stuttgart is different? The Porsche Tennis Grand Prix is historically one of the most prestigious stops on the calendar, a premier gateway into the European clay swing leading up to Roland Garros. But the indoor clay in Stuttgart plays differently from the outdoor courts of Madrid, Rome, or Paris. It is faster. It rewards aggressive play. The slicker surface means the ball can skid unpredictably, demanding exceptional footwork and rapid-fire reflexes. This is a surface that does not simply reward patience. It rewards players who can dictate, who can move forward through the shot, and who can impose their will before the rally settles into a grinding exchange. For Eala, this is the precise environment she needs to recalibrate. For Muchova, it is a court that amplifies one of her most lethal weapons. Analyzing Eala, what has to change? What makes Eala such a formidable presence on the tour right now is the sheer weight of her ground strokes, particularly her forehand. As a left-hander, she possesses the ability to access angles that right-handed players simply cannot replicate. She loves to hook that forehand cross-court, aggressively targeting the opponent's backhand and pinning them deep behind the baseline. Her movement has improved exponentially over the past 2 seasons, and her transition game, stepping into the court to finish points when a short ball arrives, has developed into a genuine weapon. But clay demands a different kind of movement. It requires the ability to slide into the shot, maintain balance while striking on the run, and generate your own pace when the surface absorbs the ball's impact. In Miami, the blueprint for breaking Eala down was painfully clear. Muchova did not attempt to out-hit her. She absorbed pace and redirected it, using a heavy backhand slice that stayed impossibly low off the hard court. Eala struggled to dig those balls out and generate her usual topspin, producing unforced errors and short balls that Muchova punished with ease. To turn the tables in Stuttgart, Eala's adjustments must begin with court positioning. She cannot allow herself to be pushed behind the baseline that hands Muchova all the time in the world to orchestrate the point. She must hold her ground, take the ball earlier, and use the slightly faster indoor clay conditions to rob Muchova of the time she needs to deploy her full tactical arsenal. Her serve will also be under the microscope. In Miami, Muchova's return game was devastating, feasting on any second delivery that lacked depth or spin. Eala must prioritize a high first serve percentage, using the wide slider on the ad court to stretch Muchova and open the court for a first strike forehand. The second serve cannot be a liability. Against a returner of Muchova's quality, it will be punished without mercy. Analyzing Muchova, the 8 seeds blueprint Karolina Muchova is widely considered by tennis purists to be one of the most aesthetically compelling and tactically brilliant players of her generation. She is a throwback to an era when the all-court game reigned supreme, serving and volleying, hitting drop shots from behind the baseline, deploying a backhand slice that functions as both an offensive and defensive weapon simultaneously. Her game translates beautifully to clay. She reached the final of Roland Garros, demonstrating she understands exactly how to construct points on the dirt. The indoor conditions in Stuttgart may slightly reduce the effectiveness of her high-looping topspin, but will simultaneously amplify the lethality of her slice, which will skid low and fast off the surface, demanding extreme knee bend and precise timing from Eala. Muchova's strategy in this rematch will almost certainly follow the Miami blueprint, adapted for clay. She will bring Eala forward with drop shots, testing her comfort level at the net. She knows Eala prefers to dictate from the baseline, so by forcing her into the forecourt and then executing disguised lobs or sharp passing shots, she can systematically erode Eala's confidence and rhythm. Her anticipation adds another dimension. Muchova reads the game better than almost anyone on tour, arriving at the ball with time to spare, covering the court with an efficiency that makes her appear unhurried even under pressure. For Muchova to secure another victory, she needs to maintain a high first serve percentage, keep her unforced error count low, and resist the temptation to overplay when Eala inevitably elevates her aggression. Patient, precise, and adaptable, that is how she wins. The numbers that define this matchup, the head-to-head currently stands at 1-0 in Muchova's favor, but the context of the surface shift cannot be overstated. On hard courts, Muchova's career win rate hovers around 70%. Eala, however, has historically shown comfort on softer surfaces, winning junior titles and demonstrating a natural affinity for sliding and point construction on clay. The surface change is not a trivial variable. It is a fundamental one. The critical metric to watch will be second serve return points won. Both players have shown vulnerability on their second deliveries under sustained pressure. Whichever woman steps in and punishes those second serves, immediately seizing control of the rally, will command the momentum of the match. Breakpoint conversion will be equally decisive. In Miami, Muchova converted 5 of her 5 breakpoint opportunities while facing 0 on her own serve. Eala must shift that statistical reality dramatically. She needs to manufacture break opportunities through sustained aggression and, crucially, execute when they arrive. On clay, those chances will come. The question is whether she can take them. The psychological battle, the mental warfare surrounding this match is just as compelling as the tactical one. Eala carries the weight of enormous expectations, not only from her country, but from the global tennis community that recognizes her immense potential. Recovering from a lopsided defeat and immediately facing that same opponent weeks later on a grand stage requires elite psychological resilience. It demands a short memory regarding the loss and a sharp memory regarding the lessons embedded within it. Eala has spoken repeatedly about her commitment to staying present, refusing to allow a scoreline to dictate her internal dialogue. This match is the ultimate examination of that philosophy. If she loses a first set or finds herself down a break early, will she retreat into defensive patterns? Or will she double down on her aggressive identity and trust her weapons? For Muchova, the danger is different. Having dismantled Eala so completely in Miami, the expectation is that she can replicate that result. But tennis is famously unforgiving of complacency. Muchova must approach Stuttgart as though Miami never happened, respecting that a wounded competitor with something to prove is often the most dangerous opponent on the draw sheet. The psychological edge sits with Muchova given her recent victory. But if Eala comes out swinging freely, executing a refined clay court game plan with belief and conviction, that edge can evaporate within a single set. What this match means for Eala, a victory in Stuttgart would not simply be an act of revenge. It would be a declaration to the entire locker room that she can adapt, that she can absorb an elite tactical lesson and apply it under pressure, and that she is a legitimate contender on European clay. It would send her into the critical weeks before Roland Garros with momentum, confidence, and a head-to-head record that reshapes how opponents prepare for her. For Muchova, a victory reinforces her status as a master tactician, a player who can dismantle the sport's biggest hitters across any surface and impose her chess-like game, regardless of the conditions. It sets her up for a deep run in Stuttgart and beyond. What makes this matchup so compelling is precisely what it represents: the constant evolution required to survive at the top of professional tennis. You cannot rely on the same game plan week after week. You must analyze, adjust, and execute under pressure. One player learned that lesson the hard way in Miami. She is coming to Stuttgart to demonstrate what she has learned. Whether you are backing the explosive power and youthful resilience of Alexandra Eala or the sublime finesse and veteran intelligence of Karolina Muchová, the tennis world is in for something genuinely special.